Well, good day everybody. This is Chris with the Ancient Scholar back again, and in this particular video I'm going to be talking about the external features of the Hamilton-T1 ventilator and some additional accessories. So starting with the front of the ventilator, some of the noteworthy features are this little bar up top here. This is the alarm bar. This will light up. There are specific alarms. Red light would be a high priority alarm, yellow medium, or low priority. This big screen here is a touch screen, so you can interface with this as a touch screen. The next thing is the power button, and then this also is a standby, acts as a standby function as well. All right. The next is the battery charge indicator right here. It'll light up, showing you when it's on battery. It'll also alarm if there is a battery charging. It'll flash, and then it'll stay lit, I believe, green when the battery is fully charged. Moving on, this is the day-night key. This switches between day and night brightness modes or slash settings. This button right here is the screen lock slash unlock. So you hit that to prevent any inadvertent changes of settings from occurring. All right, this little lung icon here is a manual hold. This is an inspiratory hold. Take a breath and hold it at the end of the inspiration. And of course, you can use that to get a plateau pressure as well. This little O2 here is what's referred to as the oxygen enrichment key. You hit this and it'll essentially pre-oxygenate the patient on 100% FiO2 if you have oxygen going into the ventilator, and it'll do that for approximately 2 minutes, or actually 2 minutes. This next little button here, this little printer, this is the print screen. You can hit this, and what it'll do is it'll take a screenshot, and then I'll show you where the adapter is. If you have a flash drive, a USB flash drive plugged into the ventilator, it'll save that to that flash drive. This button here is the nebulizer on-off. This will activate a pneumatic nebulizer. I'll show you where the nebulizer port is on the ventilator here in just a little bit. And I believe it'll do a 30-minute, you hit it and it'll put itself into nebulizer mode for about 30 minutes. And it is not a continuous nebulizer like a standard handheld or low volume nebulizer, but rather it only during inspiration on the ventilator will it activate the nebulizer. So it's very similar to a lot of the larger hospital-based ventilator platforms. All right, moving on down, this is the alarm silence key. This will silence any audible alarms for a 2-minute time period. This is the press to turn knob. So you can turn this to, so used in conjunction with a touch screen, you can set up your settings, move up, move down, press to verify. So you use this in conjunction with a touch screen to change settings and to do your initial setup. This is the press to turn knob. This is a front battery cover here. On this cover, you're going to see some little icons down here that tell you what the ventilator is capable of doing, and if there are any special modes or settings that the ventilator is capable of doing. You'd have a little tag here so you can see this is capable of providing mechanical ventilation to neonatal patients, pediatric and adult patients, both invasive ventilation and non-invasive ventilation. Now you do need specialized vent circuit for neonatal patients. So for this particular series of videos, I'm going to focus on the pediatric and adult patient setup and making changes. This little battery cover here is kind of, there are little magnets that kind of hold it in place, but you can open it up and you can see that you've got your main battery here, and then you've got space for an additional battery. And then there's a little lever that would lock that battery in place. So we only have the primary battery that comes with a ventilator. You can expect to get about an hour of use on a battery that's fully charged and functional. But that's where your additional batteries would go in, and then this just kind of, there we go, kind of shuts. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move over and talk about the left-hand side of the ventilator. All right, let's take a look at the settings here. This is the USB connector. So if you have a USB drive, a flash drive, that's USB-A. This is not USB-C, but USB-A. You can plug it into there, and that allows you to store screenshots, and then you have that information that you can put in the medical records or your patient care report for that patient. All right, moving on down, this is your high pressure oxygen connector. This accepts both the DIS, the diameter index safety system, or the NIST inlet fitting. So this is going to be that standard high pressure. Typically, we're going to be using the DIS high pressure tubing. So this would connect to the disc adapter on your oxygen source, your oxygen tank, and then that would connect to the ventilator. In addition to that, the ventilator can also provide low pressure oxygen. So if you do not have a high pressure source, if you have the adapter for this ventilator, you can plug it in here, plug it into your the low flow port on your oxygen source and bleed oxygen into the ventilator as well. And that's where you do that there on this ventilator. All right, this is the AC, the alternating current power receptacle. So just plugs into the standard wall. This here is a direct current power receptacle. So if you have the cable and the adapter, you can plug this into a DC charging source or AC charging source. So it gives you various options mainly for the transport setting. All right, and then the last thing here is this little filter. This is called the cooling air intake and dust filter. Do not obstruct this because this is an important part of cooling. So this draws air in and it actually cools the internal components of the ventilator. All right, so that's the side here. Let's move over to this side here. All right, so this is where your ventilator circuit will attach, and it doesn't matter if you're using the coaxial or the Y circuit. You're going to have your inspiratory limb will connect up here, your expiratory limb will connect up here, and you do need to have an expiratory valve. This blue expiratory valve actually comes with the ventilator, and you can see the opening there goes down. So you insert it like so, and you've got these little flanges that line up, and then it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So right secures it, left opens it up, and you can pull that out. The vent tubing itself, when you set your vent circuit up, comes with an expiratory valve. So this is just kind of like what comes with a ventilator when you purchase it. So when you're actually using your vent tubing on your patient, you're probably going to want to use the expiratory valve that comes with it. So it'll come attached to the expiratory limb of your tubing. So what you'll do is you'll just remove it, bring it over to your ventilator. There's going to be a cap, and you want to remove that cap, and you want to check and make sure that this membrane seal is intact, and then the membrane seal will go into the ventilator, and then righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, tighten it down. You'll get a click, and now your expiratory port has been installed, and you can attach the tubing. So this is your inspiratory and your expiratory attachment point. All right, these are the where your flow sensors, your flow sensor tubing attaches. So if you remember from the prior video, we talked about the inspiratory and expiratory flow sensor and the tubing, white color and blue color for inspiratory and expiratory sensing. So these tubes right here, all right, so this is going to attach to the ventilator. And the cool thing about this is you can see the way that this is set up on the coaxial tubing. There's only one way it can connect to the ventilator, and I'll show you how to connect that here in a little bit. But the blue flow sensor tubing goes here, white goes here, and then this right here is where your nebulizer tubing would go, and it would attach to your nebulizer, and then you'd have your nebulizer in line in your ventilator circuit. All right, let's take a look at the back of the ventilator real quick. All right, so you've got a local area network adapter. So this is probably something that's going to be maybe a little more appropriate for being in the hospital. You can connect this to a local area network, monitor it if you have monitors, things like that. Otherwise, you can just leave that closed off. And then this is your air inlet filter. This is the air that comes in that the turbine of the ventilator uses to create pressure, and then it'll mix atmospheric air, if you will, with the oxygen, either the high flow or the low flow oxygen coming in to produce the desired FiO2 that you set. If you don't have any oxygen going into the ventilator, it will still function as a room air ventilator, so that turbine is capable of producing all of the pressure and flow that you would need. It would only produce it at an FiO2 of 0.21. However, so to access some of the internal components in the back here, there's just a flathead screw. You just unscrew that, and then this cover comes off, and you can see you have this filter here. So you want to just check this filter. I would say every time you do your preoperative checks, in addition to your vent circuit check and your oxygen sensor check and your leak check, just pop this off real quick, make sure the filter looks good, make sure there isn't anything obstructing this outer filter here. And if you need to change the oxygen sensor, this is the oxygen sensor. You can expect, I talked to IT about this, and if you are just using this ventilator in a kind of a training environment like we are here, primarily on room air, you can expect about 1 to 2 years of use out of your oxygen sensor. Remember, your oxygen sensors have an anode and a cathode, and ions accumulate there, and so they do go bad over time and need to be replaced. However, if you are using this as a transport ventilator, or you're using this in a clinical context on actual patients that are receiving various FiO2s that are above room air, above 0.21, you're going to have higher concentrations of oxygen, and that sensor will go bad, quote unquote, faster, and so you may need to change that. And I'll talk about how you would know when you need to change this sensor, because there is a oxygen sensor test that you do as a part of your preoperative checks. So that is the major overview of the most significant or important external components of the Hamilton-T1 ventilator. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.